Hello everyone, and welcome to this custom tutorial on how to make custom variants for the Pokemon that are available in Cobblemon. Today I'm going to be doing this for 1.20.1 because that's a version that me and my friend are playing on, but I'm pretty sure that the methods that I use here will work in 1.21 and future versions of Cobblemon unless anything is drastically changed. What you're going to need is a version, like a zip of the Cobblemon mod. It'll come as a jar file, and what you'll do is you'll right click it, rename, and rename the jar part to a zip. Once that's renamed, you can open the zip file. It might take a moment because Cobblemon is extremely large. I'm also using the Forge version. You can use whatever version you want. I personally prefer Forge. I'm just giving it a minute here to load. Once it loads, you can go to compressed folder tools up here. Just again, give it a minute and extract all. I've already done that part, which is why I have this folder here. This folder has all the different assets from Cobblemon that I'll be able to be using. You're also going to need Blockbench, which is the which is like a Minecrafty voxel modeling program, and Visual Studio Code is my personal preferred code reading application. You can use whatever suits you, but I personally would prefer Visual Studio Code. I will have links to these two programs in the description, and you can go and find the Cobblemon mod very easily by just typing it into Google or DuckDuckGo, whatever your preferred search engine is. The first thing I'm going to do is choose my Pokemon. Today I'm going to be working with Flareon, so I'm going to search Flareon in the decompress folder. As you can see, there's a lot of things that are sort of available in here, and I'm going to need a few things. We're doing a variant. We're not doing a standalone Pokemon. We're doing a variant of a pre-existing Pokemon. So first thing I'm going to do is Control-C this Flareon texture, and I'm just going to put that on my desktop so I have ease of access to it. So here it is right here. I'm just going to put that over there. And then I also need the Flareon model, which I will find and show you it when I find it. Here it is. Flareon.geo. We're going to need that, so I'm going to Control-C and Control-Paste that on my desktop as well. And here it is. I'm just going to move it over here. That's all we really need. Also, take note of how many numbered Flareon underscore somethings there are. We only have one Flareon here, so it is only 0. But just for a comparison, if I go to Torterra has many of these. You can see 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. You need to keep these numbers in mind because your variant will be numbered, and you don't want to overwrite any of the numbers that are already pre-existing for a Pokemon, and in Torterra's case it already has 10. So if you're working with a Pokemon that already has numbered files, you want to make sure of that. Flareon only has a 0, so we are going to be working with a 1, and I will get to that later. That's far off from now. But we have our files that we need. We have the geometry and we have the Flareon itself. I'm going to go back to Flareon, and there's one more thing I want to grab. I'm going to be grabbing the animation file. Now, you do not need to make custom animations for your variant. That is not required, and that is not what I'm going to be going over today. I'm simply grabbing this because in Blockbench, after we create our custom variant skin, we can use the animation files to test how sort of it will look in-game when it animates. Again, I am not going over custom animations for your skin in this tutorial. This is simply a skin of a pre-existing Pokemon. Let's go ahead and open up Blockbench. Once it's open, you can see I have some different projects here that I've been doing. We did, for our world, a Mimachamp OC skin, my Doxbun OC skin, my friend's Glaceon OC skin, Rapidash OC skin, Grimmsnarl OC skin, a lot of things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and make this sort of half size just so we can open up the things we need. So I'm gonna just drag and drop that Flareon geometry into here, and you can see that it adds the Flareon into Blockbench. It's not textured, it's gonna look kind of strange, but that's okay. Over here on the side, you can import texture, you can create texture and all that. I'm just gonna drag and drop the texture in. It's gonna ask you what you want to do with it. You're gonna hit import texture at the top. Then it's gonna show you the texture on the actual Pokemon. It's very easy to see. So, in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to add model parts onto the Pokemon, not just retexturing the pre-existing model parts, so you're going to actually be able to add to the model in this tutorial. I have a reference image that I'm going to pull up on the side screen, and I'll pull it up for you to see as well. It's of an OC Flareon, just to give you an idea of what the skin is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and locate that now and pull it up for us to have as a reference for what we want our Pokemon skin to be looking like. Here is the concept art for the skin. It has a cute baby blanket on the back and 2 ribbons, one that has like a pink flame inside of it. So it's pretty simple concept for this skin. So I'm gonna have this over to the side so I can reference it. So here we are back in Blockbench. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to add the ribbon to the side of the front fluff. So I'm going to click the front fluff, and you want to be sure that you're in the group where the items actually belong, or else they're not going to move properly in game along with, you know, each piece that it should be attached to. I'm going to add a new block and just start modeling from here. Blockbench is very simple to use. You're just adding new blocks and resizing them. Make sure that the size tab keeps without any decibels. But the other 2 tabs can have decibels, or 3 tabs, my bad. Pivot point, rotation, and position can have decibels. Size cannot have decibels, or else it could mess with things, so just be sure you're aware of that. This seems like a good size. I'm gonna make it a little bit taller, so that way I can have a 3-piece here. And I'm gonna make it flat. So like this, completely flat. And you want to find empty spaces on the texture sheet for this, to make sure it's not overlapping with any of your other things. And I'm just gonna put this right about there. And then I'm gonna add another cube, and this cube's gonna be the side piece for the bow. I'm gonna make this like this and make it one big. You can see that you kind of want to be positioning this. That seems pretty good. Sorry if you hear my cat crying in the background. And then we'll do this, and then we're gonna copy and paste the cube again. Put it over here. So now we have the middle cube and the 2 side cubes. You can't really see them very well because of the fact that they're invisible, but we'll be like rectifying that and like fixing it, so don't worry. These 2 can stay together because they're gonna look exactly the same. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do the bottom part of the bow now. So let's grab another cube, copy and paste, Control C, Control V. I'm gonna rotate this, not like that, but like this. Probably like that, and then putting it here. That seems pretty good. I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. And then I'm gonna Control C, Control V. And you can also go ahead and grab that, and you can mirror UVs on the side if you would like to. I'm gonna go ahead and transform it. I'm gonna flip not the X, but the Z So it moves pretty far away, but that's okay. I can just reposition it. I'm gonna go into paint mode really quick, just so I can see where everything is being positioned. Looks pretty good, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly put down some color on these, just so that we're seeing where things are. And you can see it a lot better in the tutorial as well. Now we can sort of see like our issues. So we want to pull this out a little bit. These two pieces I actually want to be separate from here. Just move that. I could actually move it in here. Would be fine. So we'll do that. We'll move it in here. So that they're separate pieces, because I want them to have different glitter markings. And again, this isn't really going in depth on how to use Blockbench. It's more of just showing you how to specifically use Blockbench to make your Pokemon, but it's pretty easy to understand. If you just watch back what I'm doing and what I'm clicking on, you can always slow the video down also to understand what's going on in it. Feel free to do so. So here's the ribbon. It's very simplified, but I think it looks nice. I'm gonna go ahead and not do that. I want to add like a glitter here and there. Just a few little things, and then we can do another layer of color, which is like that. Just to make it look like a little bit shiny. And then on the actual little fire thing, go like that. I think that looks nice there. Go like that, and then we can go like this, like a better color. Yep. Okay, and that looks pretty good. I just need to fix the position of this little flame. We want it as close as possible without clipping. And that is the little ribbon on the side. And now we have a ribbon up here on the tail part, so this ribbon's going to go here. So we want to click the tail, and again you want to make sure it's with the tail part. Go ahead and add a cube. And I'm going to make the ribbon for this tail part. So that's a pretty good size right there actually, as it is. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this probably right here. It seems like a good spot for it. And then make another cube. I'm going to move that down just a little bit and move it out. This is going to be a lot bigger, so I want this one to be wider and also bigger like that. Probably that big. That seems probably okay. Maybe one less on this side. And we'll put this here. And I can always overlap these if need be, because this one's rather big geometry. And now I spoke about testing it with the animations, so this is why I grabbed the Flareon animations, because I can test it just to see. So you can see the bow is moving with this. When it's walking, it's looking good. It's not being strange. There is like a bit of pink coming through with the walk, which is weird. I think that might just be Oh yeah, it's shuffleage from the facial piece. So I can fix that. If we turn the rough off, you can see that's from the blanket what we can do in order to prevent that, just because it's, again, we have to share a bunch of textures for this. Normally with most of these Pokemon, a lot of the modders or a lot of the creators leave a lot of space for you to do extra textures and stuff, but in this case we just have like we just have you know, not a lot of space on the Flareon. Now we can finally get to our compilation steps, and I'll walk you through this as cleanly as I possibly can. So the first thing is, first, I already have my folder set up, but I'm gonna quickly walk you through what you need to do, so just, you know, look at this. Here is my folder. Just ignore this zip file, we don't need it. So I'm gonna actually move it out of the way. So you need to create a folder called Assets, a folder called Data, and then pack.mcmeta. Inside of it, it needs to look like this. You can find this on online very easily, how to make a pack mcmeta. You can put anything you want in these description quotations. Mine says Glavian, it's just a meme, but 15 needs to stay. Once that's finished, you're going to open up the assets file and make one called Cobblemon. Then you're going to make another folder called Bedrock, and another folder called Textures. Then go back to the main folder. Remember, this folder can be called whatever you want. And then make the folder called Data. Make a folder called Cobblemon. Make a folder called species_feature_assignments. And a folder called species_features. Now, I already have Pokemon inside of these, but you're gonna name yours, whatever you want. And again, you're seeing me open these in order, so just, they need to be in order, it's very important. Now, inside of that assets, Cobblemon, Bedrock, Pokemon, and then inside of the Pokemon folder is models and resolvers. I will leave in the description of this video the order that the folders need to be in. From top will be the highest folder, to bottom will be the lowest folder. Now in models, I already have a bunch of these. You can ignore these, you don't need these. But you do need to make a folder for your current model. In our case, we have a Flareon here, and this Flareon's name is Ember, so I'm going to make a folder called Ember, lowercase, opening, Ember. This is where the model is going to go, so I'm going to go into Blockbench, go to File, go to Export, Export Bedrock Geometry. I'm going to go to my desktop and find where it is, Official Custom Cobblemon, Assets, Cobblemon, Bedrock, Pokemon, Models, and find the Ember folder. I'm going to call this the name of the Pokemon, so I called it Ember, so I'm going to call this Ember, ember.geo. Once it's saved, it should go in here, and you do not need to touch this, so just leave it alone. Then we're going to go back to where it says Pokemon and Resolvers. Right click or double click that, and you're going to make, again, the same folder with the same name, so Ember, or whatever you're naming yours. Click it and open it. It should be empty. I'm going to copy paste this into my folder, but I will walk you through how to do this. And you can also find this online, and I will leave it in the description as well. So right click, rename. I'm going to rename this to 1_Ember. Well, no, 1_Flareon_Ember. It should be, as you can see here, the number, then the Pokemon name, and then the name of your skin. So in my case, 1_Flareon_Ember. You're gonna go ahead and open that, and it should open in Visual Code Studio. This is very important. Where it says species, you want Cobblemon, and then whatever species your Pokemon is. In my case, it's a Flareon. The aspects are whatever your skin name is. Mine is going to be Ember_skin. It's important to stay consistent with this. You can name it whatever you want, but stay consistent with it. So Ember_skin. The model is going to be Cobblemon Ember.geo for me, whatever you named that .geo file that we put in the models. Texture is textures Pokemon Ember.png, which I will show you how to save the textures in a moment. And then down here is Ember, and then Ember2, and then where it says aspects, changing Akuji to Ember because everything needs to be consistent. So double check that everything is right. Ember, Ember2, Ember, Ember_skin, Ember_geo, and Flareon. I'm gonna go Control S to save this and then close it. And that is the resolver finished. Again, I will leave a link to the resolver in the description. Going back up to where it says Cobblemon, we're going to go into textures, Pokemon, and we're going to make a Ember folder in here. This is where we're going to save our textures. So where it says the Flareon texture in Blockbench, right click that and save as. Again, I'm going to find my official custom Cobblemon sets, Cobblemon, textures, Pokemon, Ember folder, and I'm going to call this Ember. And it's important that you don't leave it as just Flareon or whatever Pokemon because that could cause conflicts. You need to give it a custom name. So Ember, and then I'm also going to save an extra one. I do not have a shiny texture for this, so I'm just going to save an extra one called Ember1 for the quote-unquote shiny version. There's never going to be a shiny version because I'm not having this spawn in the wild. That's not what this tutorial is about. So Ember1, save. And now I have both of these and they're being pointed to in that other file, which you can go and double check. So if we go back into our resolver and we check on the Ember, you can see that it's pointing to not Ember2, Ember1. That's a good thing we checked. So Control S. And this is all correct. Now, go back up to the assets folder and into data, Cobblemon, species feature assignments. I'm going to copy and paste one of these, and then I'm going to name it to my skin. So in my case, it's Ember_skin. We're going to open that file, and you can see here it says Pokemon and features. So for the features, it's whatever you named your skin. So in my case, it's Ember_skin. And then the Pokemon is obviously whatever Pokemon it should affect, which is Flareon in my case. And then go ahead and Control S, and that's all you need to do there. Then go back to Cobblemon, species features. I'm going to again Control C and V. Right click, rename, and go to Ember_skin, or whatever you're going to name yours. Then double click, should open it up. You can see keys here, type flag, true, false. I'll show you what all this means in the actual game later, but I'm going to name this to Ember_skin, press Control S to save, and exit out of it. That is everything you need to do to make a custom skin variant for a pre-existing Pokemon without custom animations and without any extra fuss. It is that simple, truly. It is very simple. The hardest part is just trying to make room on the texture sheet for all the things you want to add. And again, I'm sure you can add extra texture sheets. I just haven't actually messed around with that, and I don't want to lead anyone astray. This tutorial is just going over things that I know. So now that this is finished, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to zip the entire thing. You can zip the assets and data pack separately, but if you zip them together, it's no harm. So I'm just going to go ahead and right click and send to, compress the zip file. I'm going to call this Custom Mons 1.3 because it's my 1.3 version. My last one was 1.2, and I'm still keeping my 1.2 version just in case there are any errors. And now I'm going to show you where to put this in your worlds. So I'm going to go to where I keep my 1.20, which is in here, and then in your resource packs, which is right here, right click, just go ahead and click that. I'm going to take out my old version and I'm going to Control C and Control V into my resource packs. Then I'm going to go into my saves. I already have worlds here, so I'm going to click on one of these, and in here you should see something that's called data packs. Go ahead and double click that. I'm going to get rid of this old one and go ahead and Control V the new one in. And this is just new worlds, so I'm going to go ahead and generate that in Minecraft, and then we'll show you how it works in game. Okay, here we are in Minecraft, and you can see there are a bunch of Pokemon around, and I'm going to go ahead and spawn in a Flareon, and I'm going to show you how the skin works. So first thing I'm going to do is spawn Flareon. Here's a Flareon. Now, this is just a typical Flareon, and I'm going to spawn now a special one. So spawn Flareon Ember _ skin equals true. You can see, well, there's no skin. What does that mean? Well, if you press escape, go to options, resource packs, and put in your custom resource pack. I'm going to go ahead and add mine. Just give it a second to load in because I have a bunch of Pokemon in here, so it's going to take a moment. And now that it's loading in, you can see that there's the custom skin on the Flareon. Now, she's kind of running from us, so we can't really admire her skin. So I'm actually going to add one to our party. So edit 1 Flareon Ember _ skin equals true. And I'm going to go ahead and throw her out so we can have a look at her. And here she is. You can see she has the little ribbon, and she has the ribbon on her side, and then the little baby blanket, which this grass is in the way. There is an arrow on her tail up there, but that's easily fixable by going back into Blockbench and just fixing the texture. It's not a big deal at all. Overall, you can see that it's successful and it works in game. She still runs and moves all her animations properly, so everything is good here. You can also see some other examples of other custom Pokemon. Like here is a custom Glaceon with a collar and some icy ears on the top, and then over here is my custom Machamp OC that's wearing the pink armbands and like pink wrestling outfit. So you can see a lot of different examples here. I will be fixing that Flareon texture issue afterwards. And in fact, I can see it already right there. That's just an error on my part, and it's, again, easy to fix, so no worries. But that is how you add custom skins and use them in... It's as easy as that to make variants. And if you have any questions, please ask in the comment section below. I will try my best to answer from what I know. It's really fun to make variants for Pokemon in Cobblemon. I would highly recommend it. And it's very easy compared to making your own custom Cobblemon, which is something I will dive into in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and stay groovy. If you would like to support me, you can do so through Ko-fi, Vgen, and they are linked in my card.co, which is linked in the description. You can also watch me stream on Twitch. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
3, 2,